Hello everyone. I have a very interesting movie for you. We all know Stephen King, and Stephen King writes amazing books, and they brought those books to life. Salem's Lot was a TV movie in 1979. It was a two-parter, huge success. They also had a TV series. Unfortunately, I think it only aired 2 episodes. I can't really find out other than that it in 2003 or 2004. And then, of course, they have another new movie that was supposed to come out, but it will never air. They're not releasing it after all. I'm not sure of the reason, but they're just not releasing it. Even so, Stephen King himself loved that adaptation, but he also really liked the adaptation on TV. The TV one stands out and is talked a lot about all the time about Stephen King fans on how good it was and how intense the acting was, the dialogue, and it had that nice feel to it of a really well put together movie. And back then they had no CGI, so they had to really build character development, so you cared about the characters, and that was a good thing because it needed to be a two-parter, 3 hours long in total. And I rewatched it, and it still stands up. In my opinion, it stands up into today's standards as a classic movie, Salem's Lot. Now, if you haven't read the book, I highly recommend it. But this is the second Salem's Lot movie, called The Return to Salem's Lot. It's never talked about, never mentioned. It came out in 1987, and it never aired in Canada as far as I know. If it did, I missed it somehow, and I saw it on VHS. I rewatched it recently, and I was like, why isn't this movie not talked about? Return to Salem's Lot. If you know the actor from The Stuff, and The Stuff was another TV movie and another classic, if you've never seen it, I highly recommend that you watch it. It's an incredible movie. I'm not going to say anything about it. But that actor, the main actor in The Stuff, is in Return to Salem's Lot. And he's a tough individual. He's a writer. He wants to write stories, the things that people have never seen. And he's not a nice guy. At the opening of the movie, you see a jungle, and he has a cameraman. And the cameraman is supposed to film this sacrifice, a real life sacrifice. These are natives that he's got to know over time, that he had permission. He wouldn't film it. So he grabbed the camera himself. He says, this has never been seen before. And you could tell he just didn't care that someone was going to get killed. But it wasn't murder, because that's their tribe. They leave them alone. Then all of a sudden the boat comes up, and there's bullets flying in the air, and they run away. And he got mad at them, saying, how do you disturb this? I have the right to be here. I've spent a lot of time on this. But they say, we're not here about that. We're here about your son. And he cared. He finally cared about something. And it was his son. He was divorced. The character development was there. It was an amazing movie, in my opinion. I really enjoyed it. I did have a problem, as you know, with the main vampire. I have a problem with casting the wrong role. That's the issues I have sometimes. I think they could have picked a better main vampire. Salem's Lot is obviously about vampires, so I'm not really giving anything away. But when he goes, he believes his son is dying. His ex-wife tricked him and said, no, he needs to spend time with you. We're done with him, and if you can't help him, control his temper, his rage, we are just going to send him to military school or something. So he cared about his son. He got some property in Salem's Lot that was inherited to him. So he goes there. And when they first go there, you see this, all these people. You see people, and they're staring at him going, well, why are you here? He goes to the place that he's inherited. It needs a fixer-upper. The sheriff comes and says, why are you here? He gives him the deed, because he had to see it. No one wanted him there. Or did they want him there? There is a twist. that I'm not going to tell you. But I did say about the main vampire. I think if they changed the main vampire to a different actor, the movie would have been better. I love the movie, and I love the concept, and I loved the dialogue and the character development. The movie went by very quickly, and there's an old man that is looking for somebody as well in the movie. Did that person that he looks for, does he find him? I'm not going to tell you. So there are some twists and turns. It's called Return to Salem's Lot. And like I said, it's an underrated movie, not talked about much at all. Stephen King had no he didn't have any involvement in it at all. I think if he did, it might have been a better movie. Now, some people call this a pre-sequel. Some people call this a sequel. I'm actually not sure. If you watch the movie, you tell me. If you've seen the movie, you tell me, is it a pre-sequel or is it an actual sequel? Because there are some different things here to indicate it could be a pre-sequel. And I was like, no, there's indications saying it's an actual sequel. So check out Return to Salem's Lot. And check out The Stuff if you haven't seen it. The Stuff was a TV movie and a classic to this day. And the main actor and even the son, they were good actors in Return to Salem's Lot. Okay, everyone, check out my reviews. I have hot sauce that I eat, and I test on food. I do foodies. I do food reviews and much more. Check out my channel, subscribe, help me grow. I greatly appreciate it. And have a wonderful day, everyone. And thanks again.